God Valley. Arguably the single most important event in the modern history of One Piece. A reverie where instead of nobility, it was a meeting of the world's strongest men, all at full power, nobody holding back. So who was the king amongst kings? The world's strongest. Starting off the list at number 10 is Big Mom. Now, if I were ranking top 10 baddest, she might be a little higher. But in terms of strength, there are just too many bosses on God Valley to justify her being any higher. Of the Rock's pirates, she was the most concerned about God Valley, and amongst the Kaidos, Whitebeards, and Garlings, she's the weakest in the modern era. We know that sometime after God Valley, she'd get punked by Roger and crew, just continuing to amass the amount of L's she's holding. Like that rope poneglyph is like a corner girl. Like the amount of times it's been seen. Whoa, buddy. Ooh. Plus, she was just getting pregnant all the time during her younger years. Like, she had at least one baby in that belly of hers for at least 9 months every year. That can't be good for combat. Mothers aren't supposed to be stressing with a passenger aboard, let alone be fighting Goldie Roger. Additionally, at the time of God Valley, she was 30, and as we know in One Piece, a character's prime is typically in their middle ages, somewhere between 40 and 60, meaning that this is pre-prime Linlin. So for those reasons, I'm putting her at number 10, which, yes, does in fact mean I'm putting her above Tadpole, pre-busted Devil Fruit Kaido. It's important to remember that despite his age, he was just the cabin boy. Rocks was bending him over and telling him to swab the deck, mate. Then my only other honorable mention is Bogart, obviously. He's no Admiral tier character, but still shout out Bogart, I'm a believer. He was included in this shot for a reason. Damn that jawline, bro. Next up, after our lovely lady, we got a prime preacher of love, Scopper the Mountain Eater Gabon. Is that why they call him the Mountain Eater? Oda, you dog. Anyway, I've got Big Gabon up above Big Mom because of Hockey Tax. I mean, one of the only characters in the entire series with both ACOG and Future Sight, the left hand of the Pirate King. That means something. Hockey Tax is just unbeatable. Feat wise too, this guy definitely has better W's than Big Mom. Like, Gabon would have straight up one-shot a Holy Knight had he been a little bit younger. Even in his old and slow age, Buddy would blitz Summers and likely would have done the same to Gunko had Collins not sold it. But he saw the first good blood dad in One Piece and got excited. I can't even be mad at him. Oh yeah, Gabon also went toe-to-toe with Odin, a dude who would tank a divine departure from Goldie Roger, the same Odin who gave Kaido career-long PTSD, and Loki showed Kaido he was really not about this wanting to die in battle life. This dude was I hate Kaido. This dude is such a clown, bro. Keeps begging for all that smoke, then snakes Odin. I thought you wanted that smoke. Go fight Whitebeard. Go try teach. No, just sit in your castle and what? Drink, bro. So based on feats, I think it's safe to say that Gabon sits above Linlin, at least at this time. After the Mountain Eater, we got the Dark King Rayleigh. Now, I know Gabon was puffing up his chest a little in Elbaph, saying that he's the true number 2, but realistically, silver over copper, buddy. They don't give you a copper medal for coming in second. And I'm a Sanji fan, so you know this is earnest to honest goodness facts. Even in his old age, Rayleigh is still a legend while living in what is essentially the street over from the Navy HQ. They didn't want that smoke. He's got so much rep, even a Yonko with his crew was scared of messing with Rayleigh, who had just swam across the calm belt. Additionally, while still being washed, he gave some problems to a locked-in Kizaru, even if he wasn't going to win. We've seen admirals like Aokiji bulldoze Yonko commanders like Jozu. So to even stalemate for a bit is mad impressive. The only feat we truly have of a prime Rayleigh is being able to make quick work of Tadpole Marco, which really doesn't move me much. He's kind of getting carried by Scopper feats right now. An ironic switch up for the Wings of the Pirate King, huh? Though that really is the difficult thing about this list, is that I'm combing over every detail and I still gotta assume some things. Like, so if you do disagree with me on this list, that means we hate each other and we must duel at high noon immediately. Now, seriously, drop your list in the comments. I wanna know what you think. It'd be cool. Now, from a figure of mystery and menace to one of disappointment and disgrace, Jay Garcia Saturn, step up, buddy. Despite likely not having participated in the true battle, he was actually on the island as we've seen in the Kuma flashback, so I still think it's fair to include him in my power ranking. Now, out of everyone on the list, we actually know the most about Jay, though that isn't really a good thing for getting himself much higher. I mean, while Luffy was not taking him that seriously, he was still getting squashed and frisbee tossed around. Plus, Buddy got absolutely speed blitzed by a lobotomized Kuma. This is not a good look, my friend. It's really not. Though I think when it comes to it, he would have fought differently had he known there were people on this island with ACOG, or, you know, characters that would use it. Luffy, nothing was working. Like, you tried everything, if you say so. Though I just can't justify him being any higher. Like, he was getting clowned on by Luffy. Quite frankly, he did worse than a concussed, mentally nerfed Kizaru. That's not a good look. Again, not a good look. So I basically just judged where I would have put Kizaru and figured that would be about Jay Garcia's ceiling. So for the reason of just an incredibly lackluster performance on Egghead, I can't justify putting him any higher. It truly is difficult to place Buddy because it is possible for either Gabon or Rayleigh to beat him, but there's characters that simply can't beat him that could beat either of Roger's wings, like the Admirals, until it's confirmed they have cock. Just like in the canon, following Jay Garcia Saturn, and what might be my hottest take of the video, we got Saint Figarland Garling at number 6 on my list. Yes, even above the Gorosei. One of these guys, and it's an endgame opponent. I don't see Jay here on this panel. Oh right, he got packed up and replaced. Okay, but seriously, one key factor in determining this for me was discovering that age of his. Because despite his very young looking face and very strange fashion sense, he was assumedly a similar age to Rayleigh and Gabon based on his look in current year. Hey, I mean, I guess they got the finest of moisturizer on Marie Joie, buddy. Only the best for the Tenryou Bito. Now, one thing about One Piece is familial strength. The son would typically reach a relative level to his father or mentor figure. So am I saying that Figarland Garling is equal to Shanks? No, I'm simply saying that the two are likely relative to one another. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Next, I'm sure you've heard of the popular theory that Garling was the one who so graciously provided a scar to Whitebeard, and I'm a believer in that. Why would Whitebeard have mentioned that Shanks in particular made his scar act up? And not just his presence, his face. It is clearly pointing at either Shamrock or Garling, and we know Garling and him were at the same place at the same time. It just makes far too much sense to me, especially when the God Knights are so mysterious. It makes you question, when would Shamrock have ever met him? Also, a quick little glaze, we know this wasn't a sneak because Whitebeard's back was still in pristine condition prior to Marineford, so scarring what would essentially be a prime Whitebeard on a very similar level to the Whitebeard we saw in the Odin flashback is insanely impressive. Also, this one is extremely headcanon-esque, but surely Emu couldn't have been too upset with his performance, because if he screwed it, Emu simply would have sucked those god powers up. And you know, I did run a poll on this fight just in case, because I was feeling a little bit iffy on it, and Garling won dramatically, so I think it's safe to say Garling is above Saint Saturn.
You seem to be under the false assumption that you and I are equals. How irritating. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up now.
Now, this placing may be a little spicy, but I've got a Golden Lion Shiki above both of the world government warriors. Then this buddy is getting carried by barely canon content, and we don't even want to get into non-canon material because buddy. Seriously. What was Oda thinking of wasting this demon on a strong world film like pre-time skip? Anyway, the Ed War. Even though this sea battle would ultimately end in a victory for the Pirate King, the fact that this was even up for debate and Roger didn't just hop over and Divine Departure Shiki is a feat in itself. Allegedly, the two would fight multiple times. Another narrative feat is that both Sengoku and Garp the Fist had to pull up to Shiki when he was chilling outside Marineford. Obviously, he likely got smoked, but still, you gotta remember, the world government had originally only sent Kizaru to take care of the entirety of the Straw Hats. That is just wild hype, man. Man, these Shiki feats are feeling a little bit iffy, if you know what I mean, but still, it just goes to show his name value. Then there's his real only concrete feat is escaping impel down, but as a Yonko tier character, is that actually that impressive when you think about it? Like, as long as he could escape his assumedly numerous shackles, what on earth is Magellan gonna do, buddy? Like, so yeah. Despite Shiki easily being the hardest character to scale on this list, I mean, we know very little about him. The very fact that he ruled the sea after this, standing shoulder to shoulder with both Prime Roger and Prime Beard, I've got him at 5 for now. At least until he can actually show us something concrete instead of just being carried by word of mouth.
You're looking well, Roger. Good to see you.
After the assumed left hand of Zebek, we got the right hand of the attempted king of the world, Edward Newgate, better known as Prime Beard, the man who would go toe-to-toe with Roger, but importantly, that was an ill Roger, and yes, that was clearly an ill Roger. I mean, even with Crocus's help, he was still coughing up lungs in his personal chambers. And you know, since I've been obsessing over age more than a club bouncer in this video, Whitebeard was 36, and while not being in his prime, that's about as close as you can possibly get. For all intents and purposes, this might as well be Prime Beard scaling wise. We actually don't know much about this guy feats in his younger years, though clashing with Roger is just so incredibly impressive. And not only was it a clash, it was significantly more than that. They fought to a stalemate for 3 days. Like that feat alone gets him up top with the big boys. He was even known as the world's strongest man just a few years after this. Whitebeard is a top tier, no one is arguing that he's not. Then when we looked at his feats in Marineford, despite being geriatric, cancer riddled, and it already impaled, he still smacked Akainu, an admiral, across Marineford. In his prime, maybe things are going a little bit closer to Zebek versus the mystery man at Marie Joie, you never know. Though because he was presumably a little before his prime and possibly mentally conflicted due to his seeming neutrality for all that conquering nonsense Rox was going on about. So for those reasons, he just misses out on my top 3 of God Valley. Now for the big boys, the top 3 in the world's strongest battle in One Piece history. And starting that off, we have Monkey D. Garp, the legendary hero of the Marines. Now I think we all agree he's a top 5, but I have him above Whitebeard because of the aforementioned age, but also because Garp was scrapping with Roger in his prime, while Whitebeard was going even with a tummy ached up Roger. Now I know y'all are going to downplay how significant being ill is in a fight, but if you've ever even hit the gym while you're feeling a little woozy, let alone sparring, let alone fighting the world's strongest man, you know what I'm saying. Now for Garp, he along with Sengoku was able to take out Shiki, which is impressive, but realistically, teaming up on Shiki isn't incredibly awesome. Like, me and Sengoku have a chance to beat Shiki. Like, I'm joking, but you get what I'm saying. Then we get arguably the greatest feat on this list, but he took out Prime Don Chinjiao, the legendary Conqueror exposition artist. Then for his old head feats, a severely mentally nerfed Garp would slap down Marco like he was a damn volleyball. And during the events in Marineford, he would even try and step up to Akainu. Even with his old and slow age, Akainu is not ready for this pocket boxing buddy. Akainu's got some heavy hands, but he doesn't have that old head sweet science of boxing down pat. He's a slugger. Okay, anyway, even an uber washed Garp would still put some gloves on Akiji, a fleet admiral equal in his old blue-haired age. Like, that is just crazy. Based on portrayal, it's just impossible to put him any lower than this, in my opinion. Now for the top 2, but before we get to it, how about you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and drop your list. I mean, you've made it, what, like 12 minutes into the video? You clearly like it, buddy. Just treat yourself. You know, it's the summer. You know, have some fun. You know, subscribe to the channel. Enjoy. Anyway, with the top 2, Roger and Rox, I probably spent like an hour deliberating this and trying to take my bias out of the equation. All for clarity, Roger is my guy. One of my favorite characters in the entire story. That flashback was so legendary. Though based on the feats we've seen so far, I've got to put Roger at number 2.
Allow me! I'd sure hate to see my crew get hurt! Divine departure!
Yes, the Pirate King himself coming in 2nd place, but it's just so hard to put him above Rox with all the hype and glazing he's had in the recent chapters. Like, obviously, you and I both agree he deserves to be in the top 2. He has fought Prime Beard to a draw while being ill, sort of defeated Shiki, one-tapped an Odin who was going to war with Prime Kaido, robbed Big Mom of her road poneglyph, but at the end of the day, he needed Garp's help to defeat Rox, which nothing to be ashamed of, it's just the facts. Oh, I almost forgot. His best feat, the most legendary feat, the feat that probably made him the Pirate King. He defeated young Squard. What a legend. Though if you do believe Roger is above rocks, I completely understand that, and am too tempted to do so. So barring any crazy revelations in chapter 1156, I've got Roger at second. Then for number 1, obviously, I've got Rocks. It's just so hard to put any character above a dude who defeated a Navy Admiral and still had time to parade around the Holy Land. And it's not that he just defeated an Admiral, it's that he defeated the Admiral so bad, he killed him. The strength differential it takes to defeat a Admiral tier character in a single hour is just insane to comprehend. You know how no one dies in One Piece? It's just insane. Oh, and while he was at Holy Land, he cucked Emu in front of his baddie Gunko. Then, that's not it, he clashed with a Yonko tier character in King Harold. All that in the span of a single hour is insane. Then afterwards he would go on to defeat the likes of Youngbeard, Shiki, Big Mom, Dom Marlon the Gangster. So yeah, that's my list. I wrote the video after 1155, so hopefully Oda doesn't come out and brutally fuck me with the newest chapter. Okay, so now I've read chapter 1156, and while not drastically changing my list, I think it does change and even bolster some of my placings. Now first off, I want to start by giving Gloriosa her flowers. I mean, clashing in quotations with Roger is insane. So I think I would also put her up there with Tadpole Kaido in the honorable mention category. I mean, doing a parallel piece, she would be relative to Hancock, who you could definitely argue would be higher than a baby Kaido at her current state in the story. And that's without even considering an endgame boost she'll most definitely get. Then for Garp Buddy, he is just far too cool. How does this man have more haters than Usopp? Take all the Garp haters, double it, and give it to Usopp, bro. I beg. Anyway, yeah, we now have confirmation that these two were just clashing like crazy in their primes. Regardless, I'm definitely feeling way more comfortable in placing Garp in my 3 slot. Oda, I beg, show us a prime Galaxy Impactor in the Rocks flashback. Is that too much to ask for? Please. I just need to see more hands from Garp. My boxing goat. He was really out here clashing with Ace using just his fit. Oh, maybe it's a bad look when you say it like that. He was clashing with Roger, sort of with just his bare hand. Anyway, Garp pulling up with Marines to fight the Roger Pirates is this some kind of crazy Bogart upscale? I mean, how else was he gonna deal with Gabon and Rayleigh, bro? Surely Bogart might have been, fighting them off for a little bit. Now, if I were making a game ranking based on God Valley Buddy, the Roger Pirates are the GOAT. The podium trio are just total sleazes. Scopper was sleeping around on every island. Rayleigh's out here hitting on young girls. Okay, Rayleigh, you're 80. Roger, Gabe, Glorioso, Love Sickness. These guys are kind of bosses. Okay, 1156 out of the way. Now for the true ending of the video. Anyway, see ya.